Hey Explorers, and welcome back to Piv Explores. This week we're discussing what types of animals you might find in a cave. So thanks to Bob on Facebook for asking me what types of animals have I ever seen in a cave and inspiring this video. Keep in mind that if you have any questions about getting outside for me, please let me know. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Piv Explores, or you can check out the website pivexplores.com. So let's dive in. I am going to give the caveat that I probably haven't seen all of these animals inside of a cave, but I've seen most of them. So there are three main delegations for animals that use caves as homes. Thanks, Bill Nye the Science Guy, for teaching me all these science words. So our first type are troglodynes. Troglodynes are animals that are temporary residents of a cave, and they can survive in the outside world as well. So think raccoons, bears, rats, bats, and people. All of these are things that use caves as temporary dwellings, but can also survive in the outside world. So since bats are the main animal you think of when talking about animals that live in a cave, and there are nocturnal pollinators, I'm going to talk to you a little bit just about the 5 different types of bats that you're likely to see in Kentucky caves. Now, again, there are hundreds of types of bats. You can see other types of bats. You might not ever see these types of bats. It really just depends on the cave that you're in. Some caves are better for bat hibernation and bat living, and some caves are just not good for that at all. So it really depends on the type of environment. Just like, some houses are great for some people and some houses aren't great for any people. It just depends on the overall environment. In Kentucky, our 5 main types of bats are little brown bats, big brown bats, gray bats, Indiana bats, and tricolor bats. Now, in my experience, I'm most likely to see little and big browns and tricolor, but I'm also not a zoologist, so there's also that. Our next type of animal are troglophiles. Now, these are our cave lovers. So they primarily do live inside of the cave, but they also can survive outside of a cave. They don't have to be underground to survive. We'll get to those in a second. Things that include troglophiles are cave crickets, salamanders, and regular crayfish. Now, these things you will often find inside of a cave. I love at entrances, you can almost always find a salamander, and I just think salamanders are really, really cool. So you can usually find these things in a cave. Cave crickets, they're freaking everywhere. And then crayfish, which we've all seen in creeks when we were little and going crayfish hunting. Maybe that's just me. But those also can get washed into caves from outside and they'll be just fine. And our last category are our troglobites. Now, these are caves forever. They cannot survive outside of the cave environment. And typically that is because these creatures have developed adaptations to specifically live in a cave that makes the outside world deadly to them. One of those main adaptations is that they lose a lot of pigmentation in their skin because they don't need it. But this means that if they were to go outside, the UV rays from the sun would completely fry them because they don't have that protection. They don't need it, they live underground. Some things like this are cave fish and cave crayfish. Both of these things are different from regular fish, regular crayfish, due to their lack of pigmentation, and typically they are also blind. And like I said, they can't survive outside of a cave. So it's very important that they have a good cave environment to live and reproduce in, because that's the only place that they can survive. So Bob, I hope I was able to answer your questions. I have seen most of these animals, although I do like to pretend that rats do not ever enter caves because rats really freak me out. If you guys have any other caving, backpacking, hiking, camping, any kind of outdoors questions, make sure you let me know in the comments below and you can get a shout out in the next video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Piv Explores. Send us your questions. Don't forget to check out the website, pivexplores.com, and we will see you next week. Bye!